Good afternoon, everyone. We want to welcome you to our webinar today. We're excited to have Tasklet Factory with us. They are one of our newest ISVs that we have partnered with. And joining us is Kate McLaughlin, and she'll be presenting on mobile warehouse management built for Dynamics BC NAV. And I know you're all eager to get started with the presentation. So before I pass it over to Kate to cover on this topic, I just want to remind you that we are recording this webinar as well as all of our webinars, and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again, or if you want to share it with anyone. And if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to type those into the questions box, and we will get them called out during our Q&A time. So now I'm going to pass it on over to Kate to kick off our presentation.
Yes, thank you so much, Angie. So yeah, like Angie mentioned, we are so excited to be partnering with Innovia, and our session today is going to be to introduce you guys to Tasklet Factory, introduce you guys to warehouse management solutions if you're not familiar, and just generally show you around our solution. So to get started, we actually have a couple interactive poll questions that we're going to be asking throughout the session. So to get started, we'll kind of kick off our first one, which is just to ask, what's everybody's primary motivation for joining the call today?
And I do have that up on the screen, so if everybody could go ahead and make your selection, and then we'll get those collected and launch the progress. All right, we've got 17% that are saying we are actively looking for a WMS platform at the moment, and 67% says we might be looking for a WMS application in the future, and then 17% said I am just looking to get inspired.
Awesome. Well, all fantastic reasons to join today. I'm hoping to inspire everybody, show you guys what might be possible right now or in the future, depending on what makes the most sense for you guys. So I'll kick off with this PowerPoint presentation. Obviously, we've got a little bit of an agenda here today. I'm going to show you guys, like I said, a little bit of a company overview about Tasklet Factory, a little bit about our profile, who we are, general benefits of using a WMS and using Tasklet Factory specifically. I'll give you a quick intro to the technology that goes into our solution, a little bit about who our general customer base is, and then of course get into a demo. So company profile, to kick it off, like I mentioned, we've been in business for over 12 years now. We are a mobile warehouse management system for Microsoft Dynamics. That's all we do. It's all we've done for 12 years. So we really have one of the most robust products on the market because we've been able to be so focused. We, of course, are a Microsoft Dynamics partner. We've got over 700 customers across the world. We're actually in 35 different countries at this point. We are headquartered in Denmark, but we've got operations, like I said, all over the world. I sit in our US office in Tampa, Florida. And here in this office in the US, we support the entire country of the United States, as well as Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So we've got our hands in a lot of different areas across the country. So let's talk about benefits of a WMS solution in general. Before we kind of get into this, want to kind of kick off our next poll question, which is to ask you all what your warehouse management processes look like right now.
There we go. It should be up on the screen now. All right, 57% are manually, good old pen and paper, and 43% are we have an existing WMS platform in place.
Awesome. So, of course, throughout the course of this demo, I'm going to kind of show you guys, in comparison to some other WMS platforms, what really makes us different. But for those of you who are still using pen and paper, just kind of want to walk you through what a warehouse management solution provides in general and why you would use one. So You know, if you are keeping track by pen and paper, you know, filling orders by printing out a sheet, or you know, kind of having a full list of products and counts and things like that. You know, I think we can all put ourselves in the shoes of a warehouse employee, and you know, understand that filling those orders by printing, or you know, updating our system by writing numbers down and then typing them back into our system. You know, it's a multi-step process. It's very prone to human error, and kind of one of two things can happen, right? We can either see warehouse employees move really quickly through that process, and end up with just a lot of errors just from you know, reading numbers really quickly, and you know, kind of missing some steps. Or you know, we can see people really focus on the accuracy and the detail, but get really slowed down by doing that. So it tends to be one or the other. But with a warehouse management solution, you know, just some general benefits are you're going to reduce the number of errors. You're going to have more efficient employees throughout the warehouse. You're going to reduce those warehouse costs, improve your customer satisfaction because you're going to have orders going out more quickly and more accurately, and just in general improve inventory accuracy. So, you know, all around it's really saving time, money, customer satisfaction, all of those things that are really valuable to you guys as an organization. Tasklet Factory specifically, you guys will see this really as I kind of take you through the solution. We are incredibly user friendly. You know, I always sort of like to tell people I joined Tasklet Factory remote for the first couple weeks of employment, and all I really had was demo videos like this to actually learn our product. And the first time that I actually had it in front of me, I knew how to do everything that I needed to do because it really is just so intuitive. It's a really quick installation, so it's really just 2 days. Super easy to customize. I'll mention this probably a couple times throughout the demo as well. Our system is essentially just an extension of your NAV or BC within those warehouse modules. So whatever you guys kind of have set up, you know, in terms of warehouse processes and things you sort of want to have in place there, our system can handle. And then I'll kind of show you where this comes in within the demo as well, but we have online and offline functionality. So if anybody has a warehouse that is, you know, really big and you know, only one Wi-Fi router, it's kind of in a remote location, or for any reason it's Wi-Fi challenged, our solution can definitely still accommodate that. As for technology, we are an Android operating system. We're a .NET application, so built completely in C#. You know, like I mentioned, we support both NAV, Business Central, and then AX and Finance and Operations. Obviously, today we're going to focus on NAV and Business Central. We can support you guys on-prem or on the cloud. It's completely up to you, and that's regardless of how you have your ERP implemented. So we can go either way there. And then we have a device management system called Mobile Control, and that is essentially how we do such a quick installation, how we're able to offer support really quickly and easily. We have access, Inovia has access, and then anybody internally within your company that you want to have access will be able to actually control any devices that you guys have remotely. So, you know, if anything does need to be altered, fixed, changed, you know, you can pretty easily make that switch. We support a ton of different verticals, really. If you have any type of inventory that you need to keep track of, we can help. Distribution, manufacturing, retail, wholesale, healthcare, food services, you know, these are all industries that we work a ton in. So I will switch over next to our Mobile Control so you guys can actually see our software and see the device. Angie, can you let me know if you guys can see that?
Yes, the handheld.
Perfect. Yes. So, you know, obviously we've got a ton of different functionality here. I'll kind of take you guys through some of the main ones. You know, this is the Mobile Control that I was mentioning, where we have that ability to remote control these things. I do have a handheld in front of me, and what you'll see on the screen is the reflection of what's actually in front of me. I also have a sheet of barcodes in front of me to help me go through the demo environment, so you'll hear a lot of beeps here and there. That's just me scanning different barcodes. So just to start off, we'll kind of go through these three on this top row. So we'll start off with receive. So that's, of course, when a purchase order has come into the warehouse, and you're just looking for it to be registered that all of those products have arrived. We'll click in there. As I'm sure you guys know, you can receive tons of purchase orders within one day. So the most difficult way to do this would be to manually go into each one of these until you figure out which purchase order that you're working with. We've made it a little bit easier. Essentially, you can just scan one of the items that's within the box that you are receiving, and it will automatically filter down to those purchase orders that actually have that item within it. So if I scan my first item here, you can see I have 2 purchase orders that contain this item. All I have to do is just scan another item, and it'll narrow down to the one that I'm working with. So here again, just really intuitive as we go through. We could click on one of these products manually, or we can just go ahead and scan it to get to the next step. So I'll scan my barcode here. Here is where I really like to highlight that this is really just an extension of what you guys have set up in NAV and BC. On the NAV Business Central side, your system will know you have 10 that you're expecting to receive, and that number will automatically populate within our system because it's just pulling the data from that ERP. So I'll go ahead and count my products, confirm that I have 10, and I can go ahead and click this green check. So you can see here, this is turned green on the right side. So that essentially just means that I've received all 10, I've gone through all the steps there, and it's good to go. I'll show you guys, what could happen if, say, I didn't go through all of the steps or I didn't receive all of the product. I'll scan this next item here. And say instead of 15, I can only count 12 of these. I can manually go ahead and type in 12 instead of 15. And what you'll be able to see is that this is now orange instead of green. So it's just a really easy visual way to signify, hey, we're not all done here. I could still go ahead and post back to the ERP if this was really all I could find, but let's say I find the rest of those products in the bottom of the box, I can just go ahead and scan them again. And the system will remember that I only have 3 left, and that automatically populated number will now be 3. So next we have some things that are lot number tracked and serial number tracked. This is again something that our system can really easily support. All I need to do is scan that product, set whatever that expiration date is. Typically it wouldn't be same day, but just for ease of use today, I'll keep it as 11/19. Scan that lot number barcode, and then confirm the quantity. Serial number, again, just works in a really similar way. I'll scan that big box. I have 3 separate items here, so I'll scan the first one. Now, let's say I try to scan that same one again. Say we have a huge mass of pieces that we're working with that all have different serial numbers, and somebody gets tripped up and tries to rescan one that's already been scanned. My system won't let me do it because it's already registered. So I'll go through and scan the rest of them. And we're all good to go. So since I've gone through all of these products, it will pop up with this automatic question asking me if I'm ready to post. Let's say for some reason I had only gotten halfway through the order, but something came up and I needed to move on. I can always post what I have done through this menu, but obviously this is an automatic question that comes up when I am finished, so I can click yes. This is a customization. You can scan a barcode attached to a delivery note. You could type in the name of the person that did this. You could type in the date, whatever you guys really want to do there as some type of signature. And the order was posted successfully. So we'll go and do put away next. Let's say we've received all of our items and we're ready to actually get them on the shelves and get them placed in some bins. We can go into our order, and again, you can just start by scanning one of the products that you're working with here and filter that down. So something I should have mentioned during the receive, but I can show you guys here. Now that we are at this point of having this list of products in front of us, this is the point that we actually can go offline. So we've essentially downloaded all of the information that we need in this order. And from here, if we need to be far away from the router or whatever the case may be, we actually don't need to be on Wi-Fi until we're ready to post. So it's anytime you're downloading something from NAV BC or anytime you're uploading something back, you will need to be connected to Wi-Fi, but anything that you do in between, you can use our solution same as normal. For those of you who are working with an existing WMS in place, you might have some of this functionality, but most of the time, I believe it's going to be what's called a scratch pad. So it's going to look pretty different from, your normal solution. Here, everything works exactly as normal. Your employees won't even notice a difference if they're off of Wi-Fi here. So we'll go ahead and put away. I will scan my first product that I'm working with. And then, as you can see here, this is just information that's being pulled from NAV or BC. It's showing me the expected bin that I'm supposed to place this into. So I can go and find that bin, scan that barcode, and confirm the quantity that I'm placing in there. Let's say we have a scenario where, our next product, only 10 of those items are going to fit into the bin that they're supposed to go into. What I can do here is scan that product, scan the bin I'm placing it into. Again, just manually change this to a 10, and that'll turn orange again. You'll see here in this next step I'm about to do, I always kind of explain it, it's just some guardrails that our system has in place that still kind of allow warehouse employees to have flexibility that they need to make decisions in the moment. So, I scan this product again. And here, this is the scenario where I could only fit 10 of those into this bin, and I need to place the other 5 into a different bin. So I can go ahead and scan a different bin. It'll pop up with this message. This is not an error message telling me that I can't do this. This is really more of an extra step of security, asking me if I'm sure I want to do this, because it's not what was expected. So I can just go ahead and click yes, and that will essentially just override it. And then, I confirm that there's 5 left, and I'm putting those 5 into this bin and click that green check. So, the lot numbers and serial numbers, that I showed you guys in the receive function, it's kind of going to come with those same additional steps in terms of scanning that lot number item, scanning each of those individual serial numbers as you put them away. But other than that, the process is really going to look exactly the same as what I just showed you. So I can kind of go back to, what I was mentioning earlier. Say for some reason, something comes up and I can't finish putting this all away at once. I can always go and click menu and then click post. Again, this is just one of those guardrails that's going to ask me if I'm sure I want to do that anyways, and I can click yes. And that was posted successfully. Here you'll see this put away order is still there with the remaining items. So, it's not going to completely, erase the rest of the put away order. But those items that I have already put away and posted, they're no longer shown on this sheet. But that put away order is still there and ready for the rest of it to be completed. So I'll show you guys a pick next. So here, obviously, we're not necessarily going to start by just scanning that first item that we're working with. Reason being, we probably don't know what the first item we're working with is until we actually go into one of these orders. So I'll click into one here. And I do want to show you guys actually, you may have noticed, so in this bottom right of any of these screens that I go into, once I click into it, there's going to be a little bit of a lock symbol there. So this is, again, just one of those guardrails. If, for some reason you did have a really large pick order and you wanted multiple employees to work on it, if that lock symbol is already there, you can always go to menu and click the lock symbol and click release. But again, this is just one of those things in place to make sure that two people don't mistakenly pick for the same order without realizing that somebody else is working on it. Kind of get all the way to the front where you're ready to box things up and ship them out, and then realize that two people have done the same thing and kind of have to backtrack. So keep an eye, I'll click actually on this first one here, and just keep an eye on that bottom right and you will see a lock symbol. So here I have my items that I'm ready to pick. I can go ahead and scan my first one. Scan the bin that I'm taking it from, and just confirm that quantity. So let's say here, I know I've showed you guys a couple different guardrails where you can kind of override messages that the system is sending you. Picking is obviously a little bit different unless you guys have a substitute already set up in place within the ERP to be an acceptable substitution. This is an area where the system will actually not let you override. So, say I had another product that looked really similar to this one, and, I'm just moving fast and I try to pick it, without realizing that it's different. It'll come up with this error message and say that no order line matched the scan value. So I cannot pick that product. So this is really there to just ensure that, no incorrect orders go out to any customers, to any manufacturing lines, anything like that. So I'll click close. And I will scan my correct product. Again, scan that bin that I'm taking it from, and in this case, scan the lot number. Then confirm that quantity, and we will be all ready to post. So, we've got a couple different items here that are kind of related to each other. So, I'll explain what the difference is between these three, and then just kind of take you through a couple of them. So these are all different types of count functionalities to update, inventory numbers. You might have something where, you want to set up, hey, every 2 weeks or every month, we're doing a recount of whatever product to make sure that our inventory is accurate. That's something that can kind of be assigned as a task to certain employees or just to the employee base as a whole, and that'll be found within this count feature. The unplanned count, this is something that, an employee might use if, if say they're just kind of looking through a bin for something for some reason, and they realize, hey, there's supposed to be, 3 of these items in here, but I'm seeing clearly more than 3. I need to do an unplanned count just ad hoc. And then adjust quantity is just for those negative adjustments. So, if a food product has expired or something is damaged or for some reason it just needs to be taken out of the bin or the warehouse, that's where you're going to do that. So I'll show you guys the count and I'll show you guys the adjust quantity, just because count and unplanned count are going to look really similar. So I've got these kind of tasks that I have for myself, and I can just click into that. You can see here on the side that it is showing all zeros. Most of our customers do choose to have this be a blind count for their employees. This is just one of those things that's an incredibly easy customization. It can show the expected number, or it can be a blind count. you know, whatever your preference is. But I'll essentially just click one of these items, scan the bin that I'm taking it from, and enter the quantity that I count. So let's say I count 30. You know, I'll kind of do the same thing for each of these products. And then when I'm ready, I go and click on this menu. And again, click post. So here what you'll see is rather than that message that popped up when we finished our receive, rather than the one that popped up when we you know, did our put away, that said that this has been successfully posted, this says that it was successfully transferred. The reason for that, again, this is kind of customer by customer, but this is the general rule that we see for most. It's a lot of people, because it is a blind count, don't actually want this number to automatically update Business Central. You know, a lot of people would rather have this post to a journal and then have somebody actually be able to review it and, you know, send it back if it's not the number that was expected, and ask for a recount. Or be able to approve it and update that number. But a lot of people like for this to be in that kind of temporary space and have somebody physically, you know, fact check that. So that's why it says that message instead. But again, it's totally up to your preference on how you want this process to work. So I'll go back and do an adjust quantity here. Here, obviously this is unplanned, so I'm going to scan the bin that this product is in that I'm taking out. Scan the actual item. And then here I'll put in the quantity that I want to remove. So I'll say 3. And this drop-down list, again, you know, totally customized to whatever reasons you guys might be removing something from your warehouse. My favorite on this demo is always that it's been eaten. So I'll pick that one and then click that green check. So it's adjusted that quantity. And something else too that I'd like to mention is all of these features can be assigned by user group. So, you know, say that you only want warehouse managers to have, you know, the approval to actually do this negative adjustment. You know, you can assign that the adjust quantity is only for this user group with managers in it. You know, however you guys kind of want this to work, whoever you want to have access to certain features is definitely something that can be set up on the ERP side of the house. Our next line here, again, we have some things that look pretty similar to one another. So I'll just kind of walk you through what the difference is and then show you around a couple. So this is all related to moving. So taking products from one bin and moving them over to a different bin. You know, we see this most commonly used for replen purposes. You know, when the warehouse stock has kind of, you know, gone down to half full because so many orders have been sent out. You know, some companies like to move some products around to make space for new ones and things like that. So everything here will enable that. Again, move and unplanned move, pretty self-explanatory. This is coming as an assignment from the ERP, whereas this is something that a warehouse employee is seeing in the moment and deciding needs to happen. Bulk move, as you'll see, is just a really convenient way to move everything from one bin into a completely separate bin. So I'll click move here. Again, I kind of have an assignment waiting for me here. I'll click into this item, scan the bin that I'm taking it from, confirm the quantity that I'm taking. Now it's turned orange because I've taken it out of the bin, but I haven't put it into the new bin yet. So, you know, if everything's kind of close together, I could take all of these items and then move them to their respective bins, you know, or I could go ahead and just complete this one. So I'll go ahead and complete this one, scan the bin that I'm placing it into, and again, just confirm that quantity. And again, you know, if I were to go through and do each of them, it would automatically pop up with that message asking me if I was ready to post this. But if not, I can always go to that menu and hit post. So again, there's an order line that I haven't done. It's asking me if I want to proceed anyways. I can click yes. And it's been posted successfully. So again, unplanned move looks, almost exactly the same. It's just obviously not going to have that pre-planned order. I'm just going to scan. I'm going to scan a bin, an item, write in that quantity that I'm moving, and then go through the rest of the process. Bulk move here. Again, this is used for if I want to move the contents of an entire bin over to another one. So, pretty self-explanatory here. I just scan my bin that I'm taking something from, scan the bin that I'm going to move it to, and it'll be all completed. There's a couple things down here that are really convenient. They're a little bit quicker to show, so I'll just take you through them real quick. Locate item, say I find an item that seems to be out of place and I'm not sure where it goes. I can just scan that barcode and see what bins that item is registered to. So I'll just scan an item's barcode and it'll show me how many pieces are in each bin. So 2 different bins here that it's located in. One has 110 pieces, another one has 5. These fractions here are essentially showing how many are available versus how many are actually in the bin. Here they line up, but the scenario in which they wouldn't is that, say you have a sales order that's been placed but hasn't actually been picked yet, and say it's for 10 of these chocolate bars. This will read as 100 out of 110 to signify that there are 110 in actuality, but there's only 100 that are actually available. So I'll go back to my main screen here. Bin content is kind of just the flip side of the same functionality. Say I see a bin, it's got a ton of products in it, and I just want to really quickly know what exactly is in that bin. I can go ahead and just scan the bin, and it'll tell me. In this case, there's only 1 product in there. It might not be the exact scenario I would use that for, but if there were 20 products in that bin, for example, all of them would be listed. A couple additional things that I'll show you here. Item cross-reference is something that we'll actually really use within our receipt functionality. So I'll kind of show you where it is there. So let's say, we go into one of these orders. And let's say I scan a barcode and it tells me that no order line matched the scan value. This might happen in a scenario where a supplier changes a barcode. It might happen in a scenario where, this item is listed in Business Central, but hasn't actually made an appearance in the warehouse yet. What I do here is within this menu, I find item cross-reference, add cross-reference there. And I just scan that new barcode. And automatically now that barcode will be associated with that product. So anytime that this product comes into the warehouse again, and I scan this barcode, it'll recognize that I won't have to go through the same process again. It's just a really quick way to update both sides of the system. Printing here, this isn't something that is super feasible to show within a demo environment, but just kind of want to draw attention to it here, that we can print all various different types of labels, whether that be shipping labels, whether that be logo labels, whatever the case may be. We also have, physical printers that we can provide as well. But essentially we can just print those labels right from our handheld device. They'll print out on our little handheld cloud printer, and we'll be able to stick them on boxes as we go. Register item image, that's something, let me show you guys that within adjust quantity. So, imagine I've got this bin, and I've got this product. This one's lot number tracked, and I want to put in a quantity to remove. It actually might not let me do this within this demo environment, but basically, typically there will be an extra step, and this is a customization that I just don't think is in the demo environment quite yet. But if you want, there can be an extra step that will actually allow you to take a photo of whatever you're removing. So if something's damaged and you want that for documentation purposes, somebody can take an image of that product right there. And again, that'll update Business Central, and you will have that within your ERP as well. A lot of these things here, towards the end are, things that again are really great features, but for one reason or another, just aren't great to show within the demo environment here. But we'll just kind of walk you through them so you can kind of understand what they are and what they're for. Substitute item, like I mentioned, that's something that you configure on the Business Central side of things, but here you can kind of see, scan a product and be able to easily see what other products are acceptable substitutes. That'll definitely come into play when you're picking if you're out of something and something needs to be swapped out for an order. Shipping, receiving is where our solution kind of starts. Shipping is kind of where it ends. But that being said, we can integrate with whatever shipping provider that you guys have in place. So, whether that be FedEx or UPS, or whether it be a smaller one or, multiple, that's something that we can really easily integrate, and just be able to kind of scan that product and associate it with that shipping label and have all that documentation good to go. Item dimension, typically we see this for, companies that have large products and they need to, write in the weight or, length, width, height, all of that stuff before they actually send something out of their warehouse. This is the functionality that you would do that within. And then tote shipping is essentially just allowing you to pick for multiple orders at once. So, this could be up here and be part of your pick functionality, or it can be within a separate item, whatever you guys choose to have arranged there. I think that is, really all the main features that I wanted to show you guys. So, of course, if anybody has questions, feel free to write those over to Angie. Sounds like we might have a couple ready to go. So, Angie, if you want to start firing some questions at me, I'm happy to start answering.
Sure. Did you want to do the last poll?
Yeah, let's do that now, actually. So last poll question here is, what's the best next steps for you guys? We can obviously set up an individual demo, talk more in detail about your specific situation. We can talk a little bit more about pricing, or we can just kind of open up a conversation about your current warehouse practices. I definitely would be happy to learn more, understand where you guys are kind of at, and make some recommendations.
Okay, votes are being calculated right now, so we'll give just a few more moments. Okay, we've got 50-50. 50% say more information on pricing and licensing for mobile WMS, as well as 50% for let's discuss how our warehouse processes could be optimized.
Perfect. So yeah, we'll plan to reach out after this webinar wraps up and get any of those next steps actually in place. But yeah, for now, happy to kick it over to Q&A.
All right. Thank you, Kate. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to get those into the questions box and we'll get those called out. The first one that came through is, what versions of NAV BC do you support?
Yeah, great question. So, like I mentioned, WMS is all we've ever done for 12 years. So we go back pretty far. We support all the way back to NAV 4.0. And then in terms of new versions, we're all the way up to the latest. And typically what you guys will see is that since we, we only focus on this, we only do WMS for Microsoft Dynamics. We also are typically first to market when Microsoft Dynamics comes up with a new version. So, for example, when we switched over from NAV to Business Central, we were really the first to market with that solution that could integrate to BC.
Okay, thank you. And what is the implementation process and timeline?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mentioned during the PowerPoint that is typically a 2-day implementation. Sometimes it even goes a little bit faster. Essentially what that consists of is, we've got these handhelds. Day 1 is actually getting our objects onto these handhelds. Day 2 is actually getting those objects connected to the ERP. So really straightforward. Of course, you'll want to talk with Innovia beforehand and, make sure that you guys have everything set up within the warehousing functionality of Business Central or NAV, because like I said, our system is really going to be an extension of what you guys have set up there.
Okay, thank you. And the last question that I see that has come through is, can I pick multiple orders at once?
Yeah, so this is the tote picking down here at the bottom that I mentioned. Basically what this will look like, and if anybody would like to see a demo specifically of that, I have some clips that I'd be happy to send over. But depending on what you guys have set up, again, within NAV and Business Central in terms of floor and space planning within the warehouse, our solution will actually be able to bundle a bunch of different picking orders and actually take that employee on the most efficient route through the warehouse. And that's even the case within our individual picking orders here. We definitely don't want an employee running from one side of the warehouse to the other, back to the other, just to fill the same order. So those will, picking for multiple orders at once will essentially just have an extra step there. It'll just look like a lot more products, but have an extra step that asks to scan, the box on your cart that you're actually placing it into to make sure that all of those orders stay separated.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kate. And one more question. Is there a function that allows you to move products to and from different warehouses?
Absolutely. So we have customers have this set up a couple different ways. So we can do this within the move functionality. I'm sure you recall when you did the move, you were taking the products and then it was turning orange until you actually went and placed them back in. So it could be that type of scenario where it's sort of picked and then that function stays orange until it arrives at the new warehouse and is placed in the new bin. A lot of customers actually do this through the pick. They essentially make it its own type of shipment order. It goes through the whole picking process, gets sent out, and then is registered in the new warehouse through receive. But of course, we're always happy to talk about your specific situation and what you need to see out of that, and make that function work the way that you need it to work.
Okay, great. I believe those are all the questions that we have for you today. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to one of your account managers here at Innovia Consulting, and we can get those addressed. So thank you, Kate, for presenting today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Angie, and thank you everyone for attending, and look forward to talking through those next steps.
All right. And I just wanted to make you all aware that Innovia has a new training workshop website that is currently up. We have a variety of training workshops for you to choose from, and you can visit our website page at innovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for those training workshops that fit for you. And we will be taking a break next week due to the Thanksgiving holiday. We'll return with our webinars on December 1st with Lanham Associates, presenting on demand planning in the COVID-19 era. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's inovia.com/events. And if you have not heard of our podcast yet, it's called the Inovia Conversation. And we would just like to encourage you to listen to the selection that our hosts, Steve Waltz and Jeff Pergolski, have provided to us. And you can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page. And that's inovia.com/podcast. So check out that selection and subscribe so you'll be notified when those new episodes air. All right, well, everyone, thank you for joining us today. And if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking some time out. And we look forward to seeing you again soon on another Inovia webinar. And we hope you have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.